The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Welcome to the City of Champions and Chicagoland Speedway for tonight's action, which today plays host to round 31 of the Premier Racing League Patriot Fire Cup Series, and all 134 laps will be carried live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing channel and iRacing Live. I warn you, Jedediah, you're not going to like it in Chicago. The wind comes howling in off the lake, and gosh only knows if they ever heard of Lobster Newburgh. Well, I guess I'm glad we're in Joliet, Illinois tonight, because in about 15 minutes we will wave the green, releasing the hounds in their Monster Energy Cup cars for the first lap of round 31 for the Chicago 200. Welcome to the land of Lincoln. I'm Sean Ambrose, and alongside me in the booth is Justin Prince. Behind the scenes, we have our director, Amjad Yaman, the doctor, twisting and tweaking the dials, and our camera sets, as always, are provided by the much sought-after, newly relocated Dougie Beard. Welcome in to another GSRC broadcast. It's the home stretch for the drivers of the Patriot Fire Cup Series. And now we've made it to Chicagoland. And yes, we still have our sunglasses on, Justin. It's time to open the throttle just a bit more tonight. What does this track have in store for us?
Well, it is a little bit cool, Sean, to wear sunglasses today, but regardless, we're here at the 1.5-mile oval of Chicagoland. With its 18-degree banking throughout the turns, we're going to see a lot of action in this track. Since 2001, this track has hosted a lot of eventful races. This should be another one yet again here. Now, speaking of that weather, it's 74 degrees in the air and the track at the moment, and very windy 11-kilometer winds right now to the west. And with that, let's head to your GSRC lap guide to show you what you should expect for today's race.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Chicagoland Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet SS. Chicagoland is a 1.5 mile oval. The surface is worn out and it gives you a lot of places to run. So here we go for your hot lap across the start finish line, aiming for turn 1. Let it go down to the bottom, 203 miles an hour. Let it rotate the bottom right here, and then you're going to want to pick up the gas and drive it pretty much straight out to this wall to try to maximize your run. Now, if you notice, the backstretch isn't exactly a straight backstretch. It angles just a little bit, but down into turn 3, find that white line here on the bottom of the track. About 3/4 back into the gas, and then all the way back into the gas coming out of the corner. For your hot lap, you're probably going to see guys run all the way on the apron here, down across that line. No banking down there, so it's a little tricky. As the tires move on, Chicagoland gives you options. You can run right up here in this probably third groove. If you split it up by the seams, straight off of the corner, a little squirrely on exit, but nothing you can't handle in the driver's seat. Down into turn 3, pretty much going to be the same story. You might see guys rock the second groove, but the apex of the corner isn't set up to give you a very comfortable feeling. But still, straight out of the corner, got to turn 4, and then here we go across the line. That's going to complete our lap guide here around the Chicagoland Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet SS. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
Approaching speeds of 200 miles an hour on entry into these turns, this track will definitely take its toll on the field tonight. Justin, happy hour, just a little under 5 minutes to go, and getting ready to get qualifying underway. Why don't we take some time to shift focus to the points for just a minute? We've left you in charge of the slide rule and the points, so tell us what you came up with.
Yes, with the points, of course, right now the season standings, as you can see, Brian Yazik is still on top of the point standings by just 62 points heading into tonight's race. Nick Cohan's following him 62 points back. Tommy Ryan, he's been gaining ground fairly quickly for the end of the season. He's reduced that lead down to 69 points from Brian Yazik. Rick Harden is in 4th right now, with James Krahula just behind him, 9 points back in 5th. Tyler Dalton and Thomas George are part of a very close top 10, middle top 10 right now, with Jeff Ward, with as many wins as he has been moving up the boards to 8th, 232 points back of Yazik. Tim Johnston is curling 9th, and Drew Carroll rounds out your top 10, 300 points back. Now, of course, we also have the fall standings, which Jeff Ward currently is in the lead for that by 24 points to Tommy Ryan. Brian Yazik is 53 points back in 3rd, with James Krahula in 4th. Ricky Harden's in 5th, 67 points back. Tyler Dalton is 12 points back of him at 79 back of the leader. And tied for 7th is Thomas George and Brody Hayes, while Nick Cohan is in 9th and Drew Carroll is in 10th. So, Sean, a few different points battles heating up, as you explained, in the woodshed as well for the main season standings. A lot to watch heading down the stretch here.
Yeah, well, we've got a gaggle in the season standings right now, the overall season standings. We've got Ricky Harden sitting there in 4th, James Krahula 5th, Tyler Dalton in 6th, Thomas George in 7th, all just separated by 18 points there. And basically that logjam, by 22 points. That logjam, one common thread in that logjam, Justin, a win. None of them have one. So the difference that could make here coming down the stretch, obviously, a win would really, really go a long way to getting themselves in the hunt for the top 3 in points. Now, of course, you can pick up bonus points with that halfway bonus. The top 10 gets rewarded 10 points on back to 10th place, point there for 10th. So, running up front is the strategy for Krahula, Dalton, George, even Ricky Harden. That's where they want to be, up near the front most of this race, and certainly up near the front when it finishes on that most important lap, the last one. So again, a win for one of these drivers, their first win this season in the Cup cars, would go a very, very long way. And, I'll throw it out there now. I said in my thoughts from the woodshed this afternoon, I thought like Thomas George stood to be one of those guys to watch tonight and probably walk away here with a win. Oh, just to give you a little information, Thomas George felt so good about his car, 11 laps of practice, and he's still second fastest on the board. No one's been able to touch his time of a 28.354. Jeff Ward, the only driver ahead of him, 2/100ths of a second.
Yeah, and it took a lot of time, actually, for Jeff Ward and Scott Eckerich to basically put him in a sandwich in that top 3 of the boards right now in that 28.3 range. So a lot of drivers today are going towards the 28.5s right now, including, as you're seeing on your screen, Brian Yazik, who just broke into the 28.4s a few laps ago. So it's going to be a lot of consistency needed for today, and making sure you don't go too slow at times through the lines, or go too high on exits, especially on turns 2 and 4, because one mistake can lose you a lot of positions, or possibly even send you into the garage area where you can cook some barbecued hot dogs on your engine. So you want to make sure you do everything right here, especially with your lap times and especially with the laps yourself while racing the track at the same time.
Now, this mile-and-a-half layout, much similar to a lot of the other mile-and-a-half tracks in NASCAR. Not much different there. Now, this is a newer track on the NASCAR circuit, which means, well, the surface, not quite as bad as, let's say, some of the older tracks. But what's really important to know is that the conditions for driving today, really favorable. I mean, 70 degrees, 74 degrees outside, 74 degrees on track. It's overcast. Lots of room for horsepower out here today. Now, we saw on the trucks Sunday night, that they could pretty much flat foot this thing all the way around. They got into traffic and have to give up a little bit. It'll be very interesting to see how the Cup car battles in traffic tonight and what kind of effect that'll have on the tires going forward. They will have 100% fuel on board, so green flag runs could go as long as anywhere from about 40 to 55 laps.
Yeah, we're going to see a couple opportunities for drivers to come in and pit at least a couple times. As you mentioned there, some may or may not try that short pit strategy of going 33 laps, 33 laps, 33 laps. But I wouldn't be surprised, as you mentioned, to go the full 40, 50 laps on fuel and with tires, because in part with the colder weather, the tire wear is not going to be as dramatic as if you're having a hot, sunny, partly cloudy or regular clear skies day. So tires wear is not going to be as fast, and with the colder weather, you're going to have faster lap times in general. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see how cars draft in the pack really when trying to make passes, and how everyone times them up, whether they try and dive towards the bottom or try and go for one on the outside to make a move.
All right, Thomas George just gets his first time in there, his first lap in. He's going around for a second now. That puts him second on the scoring tower right now, 28.401. Brett Bucari with a great opening lap at 28.366. He working on that second lap now. Thomas George pulls off with only one lap. Bucari comes around to complete his second lap. Wasn't a better time, but he still remains on the pole. Brody Hayes just goes up to second with a 28.401. He actually ties the time of Thomas George. Brody with a great lap around, but we're seeing some really, really good times here early into this qualifying run.
Yeah, and that second lap is going to be disqualified technically, with him bouncing off the wall slightly out of 4. I did mention that's one of the areas where the safer barrier will come out and get you. That is the same case with qualifying when you're trying to get the fast times, where if you make a mistake in qualifying, you're going to start in the back. You're not going to have that qualifying time recorded. You can just scrub against the wall. So if you don't get the right time for the exit, you won't have the fast lap. If you don't have the fast lap, you won't be on Jeff Ward's back end right now, who just had the fastest lap of the session.
Yeah, and his first lap was disqualified. He needed that second lap, and he got everything he could out of it. A 28.318 puts him on the provisional pole right now. Tyler Dalton just coming up into 5th with his second lap.
Yeah,
there's Yazik on screen.
Yeah, right now you're looking at a lot of different drivers really. Yazik, of course, you can see putting together his first lap just about. Rich Jetty, but the Steer Horse Racing is starting to get himself together. But here we go with Yazik with his first lap. You can see a lot of drivers today will be using that apron to get faster lap times and to try and gain positions. And Yazik, I think, had an issue because he just braked and might be resetting to go for a second lap.
I think you're absolutely right about that. Yazik going to try it again. Rich Jetty was on his out lap and decided to pull off. Let's go to Eckrich. Eckrich coming around for his first lap here. And where's that going to put him?
That was his out lap,
That was his out lap, yep.
Yep, so you're
jumped the gun.
You can see he's going towards that. Oh, he bounced off the wall at a 2. That is going to disqualify that time.
All right, let's look at Ricky Harden here. Harden coming around. This will be a time lap. And you know what? There he goes. Up to 6 goes Ricky Harden with a 28.432. That was his second lap. Here's Devin Serra. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go to Yazik actually here, coming around.
Yeah, and Yazik, of course, had that first lap disqualified from an issue going through turns 1 and 2 before. So he's got to make sure this is dialed in right. Going to the bottom. This might be a bit fast. Yes, it is.
Ouch. That didn't work out for Brian. Oh, man. Catch up with Eckrich on track here. This is the start of his second lap, and he got it down on the apron there, actually. That's certainly not going to give him his best time. Already had his first lap disqualified, looking to get one of these laps, get this lap in for time. Just have a feeling it's not going to be a very good one. Boy, brought it right up to the wall, ever so close, drops it down to the apron, comes across the line, and that is only good enough to get him up to 12th. Devin Sarah out there on track right now. I'm sorry, is that Devin Cannon? I think we got Sarah and Cannon both on track, but it's Sarah coming around right now. Where did he fall after that lap? Goes to 8th. Devin Sarah with a 28.440.
Yeah.
I think it's time to call it here, Justin. Let's give that MP3 Designs Pole Award to Mr. Jeff Ward, picking up another one. He is racking up a ton of these this season. But Jeff bringing it down here on the apron across the start-finish line to get it started up, get that speed cranked up, going down into 1. He's going to keep it low down there on the line and then run it up to the wall here on the exit. And that's where you're going to see a little bit of trouble today, folks, coming off of turn 2. That's where the trucks were struggling Sunday night. I have a feeling they may struggle there in the Cup car. But down into 3 and 4, he keeps it real tight down on the line again and lets the car roll up again to the wall, back down to that apron to shave off just a couple thousandths of a second. He goes across the line with a 28.318 for your NP3 Designs Pole Award.
Yeah, good lap, and it's a hard feat to have, Rolly, today's race, because as even drivers like Scott Eckridge have just mentioned, the setup is more on the tight side with the colder weather than the looser side than you usually see on hotter weather. So it could be something for a lot of drivers that are going to have to try and balance to make sure they do not bounce off those walls, which we've seen a few different drivers do. And you're seeing why Scott Eckridge is trying to make sure he doesn't do that in the race. Practice it out. So it'll be fun to see once it gets going as the race meeting is underway for tonight's race.
Well, I think it is time to head down trackside for the presentation of this nation's colors, brought to you tonight by the Chicago Philharmonic. Man, if that doesn't get you fired up for a race, I don't know what does. Justin, it is going to be a little bit of fun here tonight at Chicagoland. Who do you like?
Well, who do I like? Well, other than the obvious of Jeff Ward coming into today's race, I think a driver such as Brody Hayes might have a good shot at coming away with the victory today, because he was putting in consistent laps at times. I also can see somebody try and work their way who's in those 28.5s right now, like a Tommy Ryan or a Scott Eckridge, work their way through the field and potentially make a battle of things once things continue to heat up as the green flag runs continue.
I think this race, like Sunday night, is going to be all about patience, having good, solid runs, taking care of your equipment, because you don't get any fast repairs here. I think really, again, pace and patience. We'll use the P's, double P's tonight. Patience will get you the win. I still like Thomas George tonight. Qualifying effort 4th, starting on the second row, certainly where you want to be here in this 21 car field. But speaking of that field, let's go to it now and call out our starting order tonight for the Chicago 200 here at Chicagoland Speedway. And on your front row, it's going to be Jeff Ward and Brett Puncari.
Brody Hayes starts on the inside of row number 2, while Thomas George in the Valvoline 24 starts on the outside.
And a couple of Carolina boys there on row 3. It's going to be Tyler Dalton and Ricky Harden.
Jonathan Lawrence starts off in 7th tonight. Devin Serra, just a 10th off the pole, is in row number 4 and 8th.
Row 5 going to be Troy Haight and Woody Mahan.
Your third driver in the points, Tommy Ryan, starts off 11th, while Scott Eckridge in the 70 starts on the outside.
Row 7, Justin Rodden and Devin Cannon.
And the last 2 cars to record lap times are Derek Paulson and Don Runkle Jr.
Okay, then we're going to go to row 9, Brian Yazik, Rick Thompson.
And in row 10, Rich Jetty starts alongside John Wilco in the 62.
Okay, and back of the pack, starting 21st today, going to be Stephen Herring, the last of our Carolina drivers. I got to tell you, these PRL races are turning into Carolina club races, Justin, as the Carolina drivers seem to be outnumbering everybody these days. And let's face it, all those boys are pretty good. So looking forward to a good one tonight. Good field of cars here at Chicagoland. And boy, this is going to be a good one. Brody Hayes, great qualifying effort for him. Puts him there on the second row. Justin, I think that was a great pick. Brody Hayes been so strong since he showed up here. Got himself in the top 10 in the points in this fall session, and you know what? I really think Brody could be picking up that first win anytime now. So many guys here, so close, right on the edge of picking up those first wins. Thomas George, another one. Tyler Dalton, James Carhula, who's managed to get a win in the trucks. Well, he's not here tonight. James missing from this field, and boy, I thought he'd be a player for a win on this mile and a half tonight, but let's face it, life happens, and for whatever reason, James not here tonight. But as we head down the backstretch with the lights out on the pace car, this pace car will peel off. This will be the only lap here we get to go slow, as they say. So the yellow flag is in, the lights are off, and Jeff Ward about to lead him down here to another start. On his outside, going to be Brett Puncari in his New York Rangers gear this evening. He's got his toque on and his Ranger sweater, so he's ready to go. And the Ford Mustang getting ready to pull off the 70 of Scott Eckridge, getting the EOL. He'll be starting at the back. Here comes that Ford Mustang. It's going to be peeling off, and there it goes. Jeff Ward going to slow him down, and now he's on the hammer. Here we go. He drops it. The Loud Pedal Motorsports machine off to a good start. There he goes, down into 1, sending it. Boy, Jeff Ward, what a break he got. Man, screaming down the backstretch already. Here comes Brody Hayes up to second. Thomas George, Brett Puncari behind him. Hayes got a nice jump too here, Justin, as they head around turn 4 for this first lap. It looks like it's going to be Jeff Ward picking up the first lap led here tonight. Brody Hayes in second. Puncari, George going to fight for it at the line, and they'll give it to Puncari.
Yeah, great start from a lot of drivers, especially Ward getting the gigantic jump really at the green flag. And Brody Hayes just now consistently in that second place spot, but everyone just now focusing, trying to get single file, then work their way up as momentum continues. You can see everyone's trying to work out that bottom. So it's going to be that kind of race where you want to stick to the bottom. You do not want to let up any traction and move up to the high side.
Okay, Sarah, Dalton, whoa, Dalton almost gets clipped there by Jonathan Lawrence. His car started to push up the track. He had to get all the way out of the throttle just to avoid hitting Tyler Dalton. That results in Troy Haight getting by Jonathan Lawrence. Lawrence losing a lot there. Just behind him, Woody Mahan in the Jewel, leading that pack of cars. Tommy Ryan there in 11th, Justin Rodden, David Cannon, Derek Paulson, all scrambling to find their way here. just behind them, there's the 55, the HPP Simulation.com Ford of Brian Yazik. Obviously did not get the qualifying effort he wanted. Got a long way to go to pick this up, but he's already picked up 2. He's going for 2 more right in front of him. Comes up alongside Paulson. A little bit of advantage there on the apron's got to make the transition back up. Oh, he almost makes contact with Paulson. Now he's going to get under Cannon.
Yep, and he's just minding his own business, just squeaking his way through, using the draft to gain more speed into the corners, and just timing it out well. You have some drivers going in and going to as low as 188 miles per hour, for example, in some of these turns. Some might go to as low as 178 on the safe side. So Yazik's just trying to carve his way through, just like how Eckridge is carving his way through right behind him.
Boy, and some close moments back there for Cannon, Paulson, and Eckridge and everybody. Rick Thompson getting the edge on Eckridge right now. But, boy, fierce battle here on the opening laps of this race. Go back up to Tyler Dalton. Devin Sarah still side by side. Have not able to been sort this. They've not been able to sort this out for the last 3 laps. They continue to go door handle to door handle in their Chevys. I'm all over my tongue right now. It's Sarah moving up around the outside. Can he clear him? At Fred J. Moyer Plumbing Chevrolet does get by Dalton. Is he going to drop in? He does. Leaves the door open a little bit and then finally gets all the way down. Gets it closed. Boy, watch out just behind Tyler Dalton. You're looking at Troy Haight. That black number 82 really on the charge. He is hungry for a little action here tonight. He's running with a good group of drivers here.
Yeah, the 20 and the 37 have definitely shown a lot of strength for tonight's race. They've shown it in practice. They're showing it now, able to just hang on to the speed fairly well with both of them really for that team. As Tyler Dalton's going right back to the bottom again. Like I said, this is a game of you don't want to give up the bottom. That includes going down on an apron. The question is, how long will that apron be able to be used, if that makes sense?
Boy, some really tense moments. When the director sighs, you know that it's getting tense. Looking up front though, man, Jeff Ward really just shot out of the gate. Strong. Car just looks great right now. Chicago, one of these tracks where you can use that apron along the front stretch. Differing opinions there. In fact, we've got a little bit of a debate going on in the YouTube chat about it now. You know what? If it's there and if it's in bounds, I say use it. But most importantly, you need to be in control of your car when you make that transition back up to the track. That's one of the real negatives about using the flat down there on the apron. It does get a little tricky at speed when you try to transition back up. And as those tires go away, it becomes a little riskier deeper into your run.
And it does make the tires wear a little bit quicker. Like, if you don't have the experience on worn out tires to go onto that transition, you'll go from being able to flat-foot it down there and just maybe bumping on the gas pedal on coming off that apron to hoping you don't snap loose coming off that apron going into turn 1. So you got to make sure you're hanging on to the car once these tires wear out, because you see them bobbling a little bit as they come back onto the apron. That will eventually turn into a very loose situation.
Okay, here we are on screen with Scott Eckridge on board with him. Who's he tracking? Well, he's tracking Brian Yazik. That's the guy up there with that yellow stripe on his bumper, Mr. Rookie. Rookie to some, not a rookie to me. Yazik, though, picking up those spots now. He is up 5. Eckridge, of course, taking the EOL. Long way to go for him, but they have teamed up. They have caught up to Justin Rodden, Tommy Ryan. Tommy, who has gotten around that bunch now and kind of leads the charge for the chase to Woody Mahan. Woody, though, getting away from him just a bit. Rodden and Ryan seem to be holding up the show here just a little bit. Here comes Yazik finally. Getting down on the inside of Rodden. Got to make this stick here. They're going to go 2 by 2 here through the turn. Eckridge going to come right along with him. They're going to leave Rodden hanging out to dry. He does get a nice run there off the top. Here we go. Back to the apron. Rodden going to stay up on track. Let those guys continue to run. Rodden gets the better line through there and gets more speed. He's able to hold on to that position for now. Good running there by Rodden. This is a battle for 10th.
Yeah, and you see where Ronan's was running when it was too wide coming out 3 and 4. You want to be on that high side. It's basically on the exit. You don't want to be there on the entrance, but if you have a good enough run on the exit where you don't bounce off that wall or you don't go too slow, you're able to hold on to that position just like how Ronan did right there. So if he can keep on doing that, it's a good chance. If he does what he just did out of turn 2, no, he may not be able to hold it.
I got to tell you, just looking early into this run, looking at the times of our leader, tires certainly starting to fall off 15 laps into this race. Our leader, Jeff Ward, just ran a 29.7. I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised that we've seen that much fall off. It's right at about a second, isn't it, Justin?
Yeah, it's got to be at least that point at this. It's surprising how much tire fall off has been happening here on this green flag run, especially with the colder temperatures. But basically, everyone's been able to hold on to the car. Essentially, it's a more tighter setup, like I mentioned, coming into this race than a looser setup at some other tracks. But I'm just absolutely amazed by the amount of the tire fall off really we've seen already.
Yeah,
just got to make sure everyone holds on.
It's about 1.2 seconds right now on the average for our leader. That's pretty significant, like I said, at the 15 lap mark.
Yeah, but it's kind of not really hurting a lot of the drivers, but we do have a battle for second place.
Yeah, Brody under attack here from Picari. Boy, and Brody has looked so good here to get things started. Brett, though, has been very, very consistent. Continues to bring the heat here. I do love that New York Rangers paint scheme on that car. I'm an Islanders fan, but no hate for the Rangers. It's all good.
Well, the puck did drop, I believe, tonight for the NHL's regular season, so why not support your favorite team? Like the Detroit Red Wings in my area just dropped the puck about an hour and a half ago at the Little Caesars Arena.
And Brody Hayes fighting here up top, trying to hang on to that position. He likes it there in second. Now, what this has allowed Thomas George to do is now come into the battle here. The number 24 Valvoline Chevrolet SS there on the charge. He looks to maybe take it to the bottom. He does not. Stays in that lower groove there, just above the line, and stays right there with Punkari. Things pretty quiet here. 20 laps in. Nobody's coming to the pits yet. I don't expect anybody to for a while.
Yeah, it should be a long while with the fuel runs. So I think at the very least you'll be making 2 pit stops unless there's a caution. But I will say this about Punkari. He was definitely very strong in practice. There's a reason he qualified in second and in qualifying. He's got a strong car. It's just a matter of making sure he finds that said strength. He's already dropped down to the 30 flats from the amount of fall off. It's down to 1.4 seconds of fall off now, for much of the field. So that is starting to hurt him, as you can see, leading to Thomas George getting to that bottom.
Man, these two are really going at it now, much like that battle we saw going on there between Sarah and Tyler Dalton. These two are hooked up now, and it's given Brody Hayes a chance to just kind of run his little race there. But man, Jeff Ward has really, really checked out on these guys. 3 seconds the advantage there in front. Boy, clean racetrack is what you don't want to give there to Jeff Ward. Look, this is a gaggle, a mess.
Yeah.
This is a ticking time bomb waiting to erupt. Make any analogy you want. It's a lot of fun. Tyler Dalton leading the charge here as we're watching 7 cars scramble for a spot.
Just one mistake can make that explosion go off, but it's been fairly clean other than Troy Heat just blinking there for half a second. But
boy, go ahead.
But yeah, just like you said, it's a gaggle of cars, a gaggle of pressure at the same time, and the cars on that high side are, I think, getting the better drive off, of course, like I said, because of that high line, because of be able to handle more speed.
Yeah, and it's really Sarah and Dalton, though, still leading the charge and not really creating any separation, but nobody seems to be able to mount a charge to get around them. Sarah right up on the bumper there of Tyler Dalton. He gets out of the throttle just a little bit quicker there, and Dalton able to get a better run through the turn. Sarah, though, right up on that rear wing of the 19. And you see just behind them, there's the 6 of Tommy Ryan. Troy Haight slugging it out, and then Eckrich looking to maybe make it 3 wide. Doesn't do it there. Eckrich managed to get around Yazik. Oh, wow, we missed that. George gets by there, gets by Punkari. We got a replay of that. Let's look at it real quick.
Yeah, let's take a look at this GSRC replay for this pass here. As we'll see, this was coming into turns 3 and 4 as we set this up. Punkari, of course, ahead of George at this time. And then you have that entrance. George diving into the corner. 3 wide, in fact. That kind of held up Punkari's momentum on that high side. And, of course, he took advantage.
All right, so George able to pull off the pass. We've got to go back to this battle here. Sarah finally able to break away from everybody, but Dalton is in trouble, man. He's got Tommy Ryan and Troy Haight just buzzing him right now. Haight down there on the bottom, Ryan all over his bumper. Just behind them, you've got Eckrich and Yazik. Woody Mahan kind of holding back just a little bit at the back of this pack. Oh, Eckrich makes the dive down to the bottom. Blinks out for just a second as he gets up on Haight. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Haight that actually blinked. Yazik throwing a little message to him there, letting him know, hey, we can't see you. Okay, battle for second here up front. Haight goes down to the bottom here inside George. Can he complete this pass? Oh, we've got 3 wide. We've got 3 wide back at 3 and 4. Sorry, Eckrich took it down to the bottom just under Tyler Dalton. Oh, what a move. All kinds of action going on right now.
Yeah, and Eckrich is doing this after getting an end of longest line to start off the race. So it's amazing how he qualified 12th, went to the back, which started in 21st essentially, and is already back up to a battle for 8th position right now. Just absolutely amazing what kind of action we're seeing across this track. But you can see Eckrich going to pull off a slide job on Haight to get the position as Harden, I think, might have just tapped the wall a slight bit and is going to lose a few spots.
Man, I'm starting to get a little nervous here. Somebody's going to run out of talent here soon. I have a feeling. I know if I was in this pack, I'd be worried about myself running out of talent. We watch Yazik there on the bottom. That's the 55, trying to make his way up here into a position to fight for, and he's got Harden on his outside there. Good side-by-side battle between these two. It's Haight and Woody just behind him. None of these positions are safe. Tyler Dalton somehow has gotten shuffled all the way to the back of all this.
Yeah, that's what
Oh, boy. I'm sorry. Justin Eckrich gets right up along Tommy Ryan, and when he does, he starts to lose the rear end of that car, and he's able to control it, hang on to it. He's going to complete the pass on Ryan and now get up to Devin Sarah. Remember, Scott Eckrich took the EOL, now finds himself fighting for 5th place. 31 laps into that run from starting an EOL. He is now fighting for this 5th spot, trying to take it away from Devin Sarah. Eckrich just continuing to move up through the field. Tyler Dalton calling for a pit stop.
I did mention the possibility of cars going every 33 laps, and Harden and Dalton are doing exactly that. So they are going with that short pitting strategy compared to the rest of the field, trying to shift it up as Ron is going to follow them. There's definitely going to be some 4 tires and fuel with this, but this is going to be a definite shift up to try and see if it works out in their favor.
I like your thinking there, Justin. I really do, man. It's not about trouble for Eckrich. Does Sarah make a little bit of contact there with Eckrich? It looked like netcode to me. I'm going to be honest with you. We'll look at this on the replay. Sarah was right there on the bumper of Eckrich. I don't think he made contact.
Yeah,
I know it looks like it from that angle, but I was looking at it from a different one, and I did not see contact. I think that was an unfortunate case of netcode.
Now let's take a look at Devin
Sarah.
Sarah's angle. Yeah, you can see coming up the second on that back bumper, it's very close that it may or may not be netcode on that left rear left rear back bumper.
Let's go on board Troy Hate's car here and see what he saw. Hate's going to just get through all this. He sees smoke. That's all he sees. He just gets under that. Luckily, nobody else involved with that there, Justin.
Yeah, and it's going to work out for the 3 cars who did pit before that caution. Dalton, Hardin, and Rodden are now going to be near the front of that pack, or at least trying to get that wave around after that.
Well, we do have a lucky dog. It's our first sighting of the Coastal Safety Auditor's lucky dog this evening. Our boy Brutus, as they race out of the pits. Brutus going to take that lucky dog for Lawrence. Jonathan Lawrence going to pick that up. There's Brutus. Coastal Safety Auditors, your one-stop shop for fire, life, and safety equipment. All right, we got our first caution, 35 laps in. We're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Step away from the Chicago 200. We'll be back in just a moment. Back with the Patriot Fire Cup Series and the Chicago 200 tonight. Jeff Ward, your leader, will drop the flag here. The green flag will come back out of this after this first caution. We'll be working lap 38 as the pace car gets ready to roll out of turn 4. It'll peel off very sharply. Jeff Ward, Thomas George will get us started. Brody Hayes, Brent Pucari right behind him. Here we go. And there goes Ward on the hammer. He's dropped it. He's across the line and off to another great start. Oh, Troy Haight with big trouble. Brody Hayes with big trouble on the start. Ooh, Hayes had a problem. Maybe missed a shift, spun tires. he's going to lose a bunch there.
Yeah, that has to be a missed shift there, and that's going to be, like you said, very, very, very costly, as they are 3 wide just ahead of him, just about. Oof. But that's going to drop him to just outside the top 10 because of 1 missed shift.
Man, that was Woody Mahan and Devin Serra trying to make it 3 wide, and it's going to be Devin Serra that gets away. Woody Mahan got to worry about Tommy Ryan and Troy Haight in his mirror. And then you see the Haight car, the 82, and there comes Brian Yazik. Yazik up 10 spots already, up to 8th. Rich Jetty there with him. Rich started at the back of this pack. He's up 10. The 77 there with a run there on Yazik. Look at this. Several cars dropping to the bottom. Some stay to the top. Scrambling.
Yeah, trying to find different lines of speed to get things to work, but as you're seeing, the bottoms prevails on the fresher tires at the very least, because you're about dead even on the exits, where you don't have to be 5-10 miles per hour slower on the exits on that bottom side. That's why Yazik, you're seeing there, just moved up into that 7th position right there.
Yeah, Yazik continuing the climb, picks up another spot. Following Tommy Ryan, not a bad car to follow if you're going to follow. Boy, Troy Haight really looking good tonight. The Pennsylvania driver, been here up in the top 10 most of this race. Continues to pick up positions. Good to see Rich Jetty up here competing as well. Brody Hayes still trying to make all that up.
Yeah, Brody Hayes with that. He's going to have a long while of trying to fight through this pack now to get back to where he was. He's still in that 10th spot now, moving up 1 spot to get back in the top 10, but you've seen the gaggle of cars during the middle of the green flag run the last time around. It's going to be very hard to make passes once the tire fall off gets big enough, because we're already about 3/10 of tire wear, give or take, at the very least, already on this run alone in the first few laps of it.
Well, they are pretty much line astern all the way around, and boy, time to settle in for another green flag run. We were so close to seeing the whole field have to really hit those green flag pit stops. We were robbed of it there by that caution, but we get back underway here. Boy, it looks like another race to a green flag run, as we've got it starting off pretty calm here. You see Jetty fighting there with Brody Hayes. Jetty not giving it up yet. Brody looking for that position. Yazik just up in front of them, trying to find a line.
Yeah, you can see the bunch of battles here, especially now. We mentioned that 37 car and how he had a lot of speed in qualifying and in practice. He's getting that speed he needs now in the middle of the race. He's keeping up with Jeff Ward. In fact, he's turning faster times by about 1/10 a second right now, give or take right now. That one is about 3/100ths of a second, I believe it is, faster. But he's starting to close in on Jeff Ward right now with how he's running pace-wise. This is the kind of pace you need to keep up with Ward here. You got to make sure, though, you don't have the tire fall off in the end.
Well, I did say patience and pace, and it does look like Buncari's got both right now. Nothing wrong with sitting there in second. No reason to press. Just follow. Follow well, though. That's the key. Don't scuff off any speed. Buncari really seems to be locked in right now. It's Thomas George that is really struggling back there to find this group. George now almost a full second back. Nothing behind him here immediately, but George going to have to find that line again if he wants to try and get back up here with Buncari and Ward and be a contender. Devin Serra has slipped back now a second behind George, and some of those battles that we were watching have ended. Brian Yazik, though, is now up to 7th. He's leading Tommy Ryan and Brody Hayes. His next conquest here is going to be Troy Haight in front of him. Haight with a pretty good stretch of track in front of him and behind of him. He does look safe right now, but here comes Yazik, starting to turn in some laps that are just a little bit better. Only by a couple of hundredths of a second, but better indeed. He's starting to get a run here at Troy Haight.
Yeah, and you can see he's deciding to try and test things out by not going on the apron, and it's kind of working on this run at the very least right now. But he is still about about a tenth off in the last lap compared to Jeff Ward, the leader. But he's been able to find that pace that he's slowly been able to just been trying to find out. And you can tell Yazik is preferring at times not to go to that apron compared to Tommy Ryan behind him, who does want to go to that apron for handling.
Well, you know, I think what happens is overrun. You start to look at the time, the times that you're running, and you may find out that apron's not helping you at all. So better to stay in your groove and keep running. Yazik, though, has found Troy Haight. He's really starting to make this work now. Now he's got to be able to get a run to get around him, under him or around him, one or the other. He's going to have a decision to make here in probably just about a lap. He's getting a nice run at him here in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Will this move come on the back stretch?
Yeah, and this is to the point where handling's going to start becoming an issue, Sean, because take Ricky Harden, for example. He just got loose out of 2 a few moments ago. And now, while he's still in 10th, that's a case of the tire fall off is going to get so hard to handle where if you go on that apron, you're going to definitely snap loose. You want to be careful and try and pull things back. You're still going 203 miles an hour into the quarters, yes, but you got to make sure you do not lose the control enough to where you lose a ton of time or get damaged. That's what you're seeing with Ricky Hardy right now, trying to keep that 10th spot right now in front of Rich Jetty.
Boy, and we'll be talking about the halfway point of this race very soon. A lot of these drivers now scrambling to keep themselves in the top 10 or get to the top 10. Rich Jetty, one of those drivers trying to get in that top 10. So's Derek Paulson. Paulson's still having a good run. So's Rick Thompson. Thompson's up 5 spots to where he's at.
Yeah, some good runs here, but Jetty is now going to risk losing that 11th spot because he had to let off out of 2 to make sure he didn't get into the back of Ricky Harden. He's going to be able to fight off the number 5 Derek Paulson this time around, but that did lose him some momentum because it was 2-3 miles per hour faster on the exit compared to Harden. Harden's been dropping it down very, very much to 170 miles per hour and getting very high up on his exits. And you can tell Rich Jetty's continuing to have to let off to make sure he doesn't get into the back of him.
And I think Paulson's going to take advantage of that in his American Pool Supplies Chevrolet. Oh, boy, he starts to lose it a little bit. He started to slide almost up into Jetty. He avoids that. Oh, boy, that was close. Rick Thompson's right there to pick him up. Here comes Rick Thompson alongside Paulson now. Wow, that was close. Good moment there. Paulson hanging on to it. Brian Yazik now to 6th place. Finally gets around Troy Haight.
Yeah, and Troy
continuing to march towards the front, man.
Yeah, he is, because he's found what he's been wanting to have speed-wise. He's faster than the leaders right now, in fact, with the pace he's running. So he's found his groove. It's been the case in a lot of races this season, and especially in the second half of the year, where as the race has gone on, he's found a more and more comfortable groove, and you're seeing exactly that, especially with him starting to run faster laps than your leader in Jeff Ward. So if he can keep up the distance and use Woody Mahan and Devin Serra for drafting as well to help close that gap faster with the pull, we're going to see him up in that battle for the lead eventually.
I certainly don't want to jinx Woody, but Woody having a solid run here in the top 5. Hanging on to it. Giving a good chase here to Devin Serra. Nothing has changed up front, though. Jeff Ward, Brent Punkari, still the 2 kind of in charge of this show. In fact, why don't we run down the top 10 here real quick? I'll take the top 5. Jeff Ward, your leader. 22 laps out since that last caution. Brent Punkari hanging on to 2nd place. That's how they started. I'm sorry, they started Jeff Ward and Thomas George, but Punkari took 2nd place and passed George. That's where George sits now in 3rd. A little bit farther back to Devin Serra and Woody Mahan catching Serra now as we go around here to start lap 59. What do we have there? 6th on back through 10th, Justin.
Brian Yazik, your points leader right now, is in that 6th position spot right now. He has moved up 11 spots since the start of this race. Meanwhile, in 7th is Troy Haight. in that 7th spot, trying to hold on to Tommy Ryan just behind him for 8th spot right now. And Brody Hayes, while he's made some mistakes at times this race, he's been able to work his way back up to 9th. And rounding out that top 10, just barely at the moment, is Ricky Harden. Right now holding off that top 10 as we approach the halfway point, lap 67. It's closing in fast, just like how Rick Thompson is closing in on Ricky Harden.
Yeah, Rick getting a run at him here. Boy, that's another pack battling here. It's a battle for 10th, and Rick Thompson gets under Harden, almost makes contact with him. That was so close. They come out of turn 4. Harden almost gets into the wall. It's a Ford and Chevrolet battle here. The blue oval against the bow tie. Into turn 1, and right now the blue oval leading that battle. And the bow tie looking to fight back up top. I don't think Ricky's got anything for him there. He doesn't. Going to maybe look to cross him over here down the backstretch. It's not there. It's not there. Give it to Rick Thompson up to 10th. 6 cars here all trying to get that 10th position. Who is that? Troy Haight coming off the track for a pit stop.
And this is the case of rolling the dice before this halfway point. So let's see if what he does here, if it's going to work out for him, because he just put out of that top 10. But just to point things out, a couple different things, Sean. You mentioned the battle of blue ovals against different manufacturers. What about blue ovals versus blue ovals? Brian Yazik moving up into that top 5, by the way, just a moment ago with Brody Hayes passing by the Chevrolet of Tommy Ryan for 7th. Just to take things note, as we are approaching that halfway, we might see some pit strategy of cars who want to roll the dice for the finish.
Oh, Yazik sitting in the rocking chair here. Woody Mahan behind him. Devin Sarah just in front of him. I know he'd like to get another spot here, increase, get some more of those bonus points. Justin Rodden coming out of the pit now, making the call to his competitors. Let them know he's coming back on track. So Justin, the only one employing that strategy so far here.
Is Hayden Rodden now, as you're going to.
That's right, yeah.
But they got to hope that the caution doesn't come too soon, because that bit a few drivers on that last run, Tyler Dalton, Ricky Harden, and again Justin Rodden. If the caution comes out now, they're going to have to over a wave around. And in fact, they're both 2 laps down right now. So this is a point where they're saying, I hope it stays green. I hope it stays green. Yeah. Please stay green.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're definitely they definitely want to keep it clean on track and see this race continue on if that strategy is going to work for them. Still some great battles going on here on track. Yazik Yazik not able to run Sarah down. Sarah having a strong run here early as we come in on this halfway point. Not far now, just a couple laps to go. Jeff Ward kind of in command of it. He's got almost a 3-second lead. I got to be honest, I don't see him giving that up. We've seen Jeff pick up a lot of these halfway awards this season. I think he's about to add another one to the trophy case.
And just to make a small correction there, Sean, I apologize for cutting you off there for a second. It is just currently about a lap down, I believe it is now, for Haight and Rodden. Correction there, as I believe they are just zooming by, and it might have just gone by Jeff Ward just now to get back to that 1 lap down situation. But we do have a battle.
All right, here we go. Jeff Ward up front. There we go. Yazik looking to the bottom there of Sarah. Oh, can he finally pull this off? Is it his to keep? Oh boy, and there's George just up in front of him, guys. Oh, this is good. Really, really good. George has continued to just kind of drop pace a little bit. We're coming around. As soon as we complete this lap, we can award this. I'm going to give it to him now. Jeff Ward coming out of turn 3 in the middle, coming out of 4. Here he comes. The American Pool Supply Halfway Award is going to Jeff Ward tonight. Brent Puncari going to get 9 points for his effort back there. 9 bonus points for coming across in second. It'll pay all the way back to 10th. It looks like Rick Thompson going to be able to hang on to that. But this battle continues here. Thomas George has fallen into the clutches of Devin Serra, Brian Yazik, Woody Mahan. There's Brody Hayes is not out of this thing at all. He's actually starting to pick up the toe of these cars in front of him, starting to get a run.
Yeah, and it kind of helps that there's the two wide battles. It's going to help him close in a little bit more. You see these cars try and side draft off each other down the backstretch, especially. As you can see, Yazik trying to get that, and pit stops are going to put a wrench in that pass attempt, though. Thomas George in this time by. And that was a little bit of a checkup on that pit entrance, in fact, with Thomas George. So Brian Yazik obviously taking the smart decision to back out and not have it too wide behind Thomas George.
George really got to be perfect on this pit stop too. That's really the only way these green flag pit stops work, is if you are perfect, you got to hit your marks. George gets in really clean. So we watch Yazik here on track, still trying to get a run at Serra. Serra coming off the track for a pit stop. Punkari really having trouble getting that car slowed down. It was all over the place coming across the line. Thomas George is away, screaming out of his pit box. And there he goes. As the pack comes around, Thomas George trying to get his Chevrolet back up to speed.
Yeah, while we're starting to show the start of the pit stops, take note of something. The 83 has some damage now on that right side, because as these tires are wearing down, you'll have it harder to handle. Devin Cannon, who's in the pits, had just bounced off the wall of 2 a couple laps ago. He did not get any cars tangled up with him, luckily, but he does have to fix a little bit of that damage with those tires now coming on that car. These guys now, as the pit strategies continue, having to get some fresh tires and getting these fresh tires immediately worked in.
You know, and listen, there are cars we have not talked about tonight. I want to get some screen time to him right now. Don Runkle, Snoop Doggy Don, running in 12th place, started 16th. He's in a really, really good battle with John Wilco right now. That's a couple of Toyotas going at it. But the Pickle Rick machine, the double out there of Don, still in this race, still running strong. California driver still looking for his second pit stop here. So's Wilco. These two kind of working together a little bit right now and having a little bit of fun. Good to see them both still on track, though. Battle here, though, goes back to the front. Yazik, Mahan going at it. There's Brody Hayes. Hayes has worked his way back up into this. Just got by Yazik to pick up that second spot. Ooh, Woody poking his nose in there.
Yeah, and Woody having to back off, and it's going to lose a bit of time as they go back single file into the backstretch here. But you can see Woody wants to get that position. He's diving it in there a little bit more deeper than usual than we've seen for much of the race into that turn 3, but he just doesn't have that strong of an exit trying to do that to get the better entrance right now. As you can see, Brody Hayes is going to have to fight hard to keep the spot from Yazik on that high side.
Ooh, boy, and behind them, Woody had a little bit of trouble. That car really started to push going into the turn, and boy, Woody had to back off big time. Yazik looking to take this spot from him, though, as they come out of 4. We're holding up pretty good down here, but Yazik still holding the bottom, and it's going to be Brody Hayes going to continue to hold that second place spot. Again, I'm just so impressed with this Brody Hayes coming on the scene here later in the season, and has been impressive to watch. The only thing that has eluded him is a victory at this point. He's done just about everything else he's needed to do to prove himself. Pretty good proving ground right here, running with Yazik.
Yeah, and able to fight it off, partially because he knows that the drivers on the bottom have to let off on the exit more than if he stays on that high side. That's why I think partially why he's getting to the about a lane higher than Yazik, knowing he doesn't want to lose the spot. He's had times, Hayes, where he's had the tire fall off quicker than some of his competitors, causing him to slip back. It's obvious he does not want that to be the case, but he's going to have to negotiate cars on fresh tires soon that are running very fast laps right now. That is George and Pukari lined up.
Yeah, boy, and they are definitely faster than Woody right now, and they came up on him really, really quick. And look at this. Oh, Hayes with trouble. Hayes was up in the wall as George and Bukari try to make their way through. That got pretty tricky there.
Yeah, that got a little bit more than tricky. That got nerve-wracking. If you see that starting to happen, you're thinking, I better do this right or else I'm going to mess this up. But look at this with Hayes. He's right on that quarter panel again for Yazik. Almost got on the back of him on the exit. He was so quick on that. He just wants that spot back. You can tell by the way he's fighting, he does not want Brian Yazik in front of him.
Okay, well, this is setting up real nicely. I mean, really, it's starting to look like Ward, Yazik, Hayes, really your top 10 to 13 drivers right now, all looking to maybe make this on one more stop. With the lack of any real caution flag here at this point, that looks like that's going to be the play. What you've done, though, is by committing to that, is you've allowed Thomas George and Brent Bunkare back here to throw down some really, really good laps over the last almost 10 laps now. And boy, that last pit stop is going to need to be a perfect one.
Yeah, it definitely has to be, because if you speed now, if you mess it up, you're going to be in trouble. So if the people who aren't pitting right now, they aren't basically right now.
Sorry, Devin Serra almost gets into the back of Yazik, another car that has pitted. He got a tremendous run at Yazik and almost hit him, almost ran him over. Troy Hayton now able to get by. We've actually got a replay of it here. Now on board with Serra, you're going to see him get the run now on fresher tires, and man, he almost got him.
My goodness. They say part of racing is negotiating lap cars at times. Well, that's 100% the case there, because that was near disaster. That was a car going 185 miles per hour on the entrance compared to one going 169. So Yazik's lucky he wasn't an inch lower on that to not get rear-ended on that one. But Brody Hayes, he's fallen off now a bit on terms of time behind of Yazik. And meanwhile, we got some battles between some of those cars on fresh tires. Not wasting any time to start battles. We're still about a second and a half right now in terms of better tires right now. So it's looking right now that these two are hoping that the strategy continues to work out in their way, Sean.
Okay, I see a pit window opening up here for our leaders here within the next 5 laps, and that'll get it done to the end. Question is if you're that far ahead, do you keep out there running? Again, they are losing time to those guys that have already stopped. It is the battle of 2 stops versus 1 here to the end right now.
Here's the thing, if you go on that 2-stop strategy, if you don't have enough time to make your way up through that field, then or get a caution when you need to, you're going to be in trouble. That's why Tyler Dalton and Tommy Ryan are starting. As you said, there's the leaders are going to come in. We're going to see if the strategy plays out for the guys on 2 tires, 2 stops, compared to the 1 now.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, the dominoes are starting to fall. Watch those guys on their pit stops bring it down. Again, they've got to be perfect. Got to hit your marks. Don't overshoot your box. Pretty clean there for Dalton and for Harden. Brody Hayes just coming in. He's crawling down the pit lane now. Got it all the way out there near the grass. There's Tommy Ryan in. Rick Thompson is in. Brian Yazik making the call. He's coming in.
Yeah, and this is the time, like you said, we're going to see that the cars are just about out of fuel at this point. So you can't go and keep running without gas in all terms of everything, including life. So you need pit stops to make sure you actually make it to the finish.
It's really going to shake things up.
Here's the thing, too. What drivers might say, I'm going to add less fuel to get a faster stop. There's going to be some strategy where drivers are going to say, I'm going to just add just enough to get to the finish. what if they add too little to get to the finish?
Right.
That's going to end up messing up the strategy if they get a faster stop, well, to try and cut some time on the track.
All right, Yazik making his way off of pit lane. The cars to watch right now are going to be Brent Bunkari and Thomas George. Jeff Ward just making his call, so Ward going to go ahead and come on in. That's going to leave Woody Mahan, Rich Jetty, Stephen Herring ready to come in. Who was that? Is that Don Runkle just in front of our leader, Jeff Ward?
Yeah, and Jeff Ward just barely made the speed limit on that pit stop. So he just had to slide it in there to make sure he didn't get only. He was going a few meters before that pit entrance. He was still at 75 miles per hour just about. So he's lucky to be able to get to 50.
Okay, here comes Bunkari around the start-finish line now. He is going to move himself up to second. Stephen Herring still out on track, has not taken his pit stop yet. Been out there for 54 laps on this run. Bunkari, George go to second and third. Devin Serra in fourth. John Wilco fifth.
Yeah, and Herring, I'm guessing, is probably going to bring in this time by because Bunkari right now is riding in the 29.8s as well as Thomas George. Stephen Herring is still in that 31 flat range now. So, and this is going to be once again where we see that 2-stop versus 1-stop strategy to work out because you have Jeff Ward just in 7th place now with that. As I think Stephen Herring just might have ran out of fuel having to come in.
He's going to have enough momentum to get down pit lane, but he's going to lose a lot of time on track because of that. Brett Bunkari going to go ahead and go to the front in the New York Rangers Chevrolet this evening. Rangers were down 3-2 last I checked in the third period. Hopefully they pick things up. But Bunkari now 20 laps on this run. We've got 43 laps to go this time by. I don't think he can make it on fuel. Again, this is, I think, come down to the lack of any caution flag right now. Has come to the battle of 2-stop guys versus 3-stop guys. And, well, now all the 2-stoppers have come in. And they are good to the end. So your top 4 right now, Bunkari, George, Serra, and Haight, all need another stop. Jeff Ward now back up to 5th. Is good to the end. So's Yazik. But as they cycled out of this pit stop, it's still Ward ahead of Yazik.
Yeah, you mentioned that with the short pit strategy. All the cars on that short pit strategy went on 69 and laps 69 and 70, which is just after that halfway point. The rest of the field went in, of course, laps 83 onward up to that lap 90. As you mentioned, they're going to be 14 laps shorter than the rest of these cars on the one-step strategy. So if they do not get a caution, the strategy is going to go boom or bust. And it's going to lean towards the bust side, unfortunately, for these guys.
Yeah.
So now this is going from, I hope there's no caution, to, I hope there is a caution.
Yeah, and right now we only have 13 cars left on this lead lap. If we were to get a caution, I think Rick Thompson would be the lucky dog recipient at this point. But everybody's still running tonight. Oh, Eckridge coming back down pit lane. Eckridge finally getting his car in. Now, Eckridge, a couple, about 6 laps down, had that trouble early, needed about 5 minutes in the pit to get that car fixed. But still out here digging. You know, one thing they were talking about in the chat, and I think our director even chimed in, we all got that tease this week of the animated pit crews coming to iRacing, hashtag soon. That is going to be cool, especially on the yellow flag pit stops when everybody's coming in and watching them all scramble out into the pit lane. It's going to be fun. Going to be good to watch.
Yeah, that was something that's been really being pushed for in the past few years, as you can see Rick Thompson getting his lap back as we were talking about that, but with the pit animations, I think that really helps making a more realistic experience, actually seeing your pit crew in that. There's going to be questions at times, I think, about what if you run through a pit stall and bump into an air crew member, for example. So, I can't wait to see it implemented, and I can't wait to see how it is during the actual races, because that's something that's been really pushed for iRacing and from NASCAR itself as well for a while now, for pit stops.
Okay, so on track, it's Bunkari, Thomas, George, Devin, Sarah, your top three. And then you got to go back to fourth. That's Jeff Ward. Ward only we're just under 6 seconds back from the lead of Bunkari. And I can tell you by Ward's pace right now, he is just under a second faster. So it's not going to be long before he starts making even more gains here. It could be just within about the next 5 or 6 laps, we see him fighting for that top spot.
Yeah, that's all 3 cars in front of him are on that 2-stop strategy. So they got to essentially hope they can somehow find a way to keep him behind him. But you mentioned that speed difference. It's going to be very hard because you're going 176 right now if you're Ward. 172 at the very least on the exit for Sarah. That's why you're seeing him just zoom on by like he's standing still. As it looks like Devin Sarah might be calling something for a pit stop.
I think Sarah was... Oh, no, you're right. He is calling for the pit stop, but I think he decided he better come in when he saw how just quickly he got passed by Jeff Ward right there. All right, Justin Rodden coming in also. The 37 is coming in. They're all scrambling now. Everybody had a number. 100 laps in the books.
I think the main thing the 3 who are doing the 2-stop strategy right now is they're banking on having enough tire speed to... Oh, Bunkari!
We'll go on board Thomas George here. Let's see what he saw. Yeah, that makes me nervous. Thomas George, I guess we'll find out soon if he's going to be victim to a speeding penalty there. It was really, really close on the line.
Yeah, Thomas George was going 63 miles an hour when he was entering the pits, so I have a strong feeling he does have that speeding penalty. Why is he sitting there?
Being held.
So that is...
Oh, Bunkari with trouble there. All kinds of strange things going on. Devin Cannon's in the pit.
Yeah, and Devin Cannon penning from that top 10, but so now, right now, it's going to be the matter of seeing, will there be enough time for these guys on 2-tire strategy, for the 2-stop strategy, pardon me, to be able to work their way, like, with the tire fall-off difference on this green flag run. It's going to be very, very, very tight, Sean, and I don't know if there's enough time with 32 laps to go.
Well, I can tell you who it doesn't matter to. It doesn't matter to our leader, Jeff Ward. Not a problem for him. Now a 7.5 second lead over Brian Yazik. He's in the clear. He has overcome the last pit stop. He is 15 laps into this run. 30 laps left to go in this race. When they come across the line, Jeff Ward got to be very, very happy with where he's sitting. The only thing that is in front of him are lapped cars at this point. And Justin Rodden, who just came off the pit stop, going to be a little bit faster. But I don't know if Rodden's had the pace tonight. Even with a little bit fresher tires, I don't know that he's had the pace tonight that he's going to be able to easily get past Ward. This could be a problem for Ward. He's going to have to be careful here as Rodden gets to him. Again, the car hasn't looked that fast this evening, and that could present a problem for Ward just because of the difference in tires. But right now, Ward, your leader, Yazik, hanging on back there. Now, Yazik got a pretty good distance back to Brody Hayes. He's not under any real threat there. Brody's going to have to worry about the run of Tommy Ryan right now. All these cars, the top 4, are on that same strategy.
Yeah, all of them on the same strategy, and everyone spaced out a lot here at this point. You can see with Hayes, for example, he's 3 seconds ahead of Tommy Ryan. So they're trying to close things together. Meanwhile, there is negotiations with those cars that are on the two-tire strategy. You mentioned Jeff Ward possibly having a problem with Ronan, or Ronan having a problem with Ward. Ward just let him on by with those fresher tires, so we're going to see a lot of that possibly.
Yeah, they got that done clean. Rodden able to get by good there. Now he's going to try and get by Rich Jetty. Jetty still on the lead lap in 9th place.
Yeah, and you can see with Jetty what he's doing there, moving to the high side with the fresher tires. That is the right call to do in this situation. You don't want to be the car on slower tires, as Jetty actually wiggled on that exit that holds up a fresher car and then gets collected and brings out a caution.
Man, you know what? I want to stay away from that C word for the rest of the race there, Justin. We've got a good thing going here, buddy. And well, I'll tell you what, I don't think any of these drivers at this point, maybe outside your top 5, I think they'd like to see a caution, but inside of it, everybody got to feel pretty good of their position on track right now. Tommy Ryan just getting by the lapped car there of John Wilco. Ryan sitting in 7th place, having a decent run after a little trouble in the middle part of this race. Kind of picked things back up and got himself solid inside the top 10. Not that far up in front of him, though. He's got a little bit of work to do. In fact, I'm sorry, Tommy chasing Brody Hayes, who is now 3.5 seconds up in front of him. So Tommy going to have to get on it here just a bit if he's got a shot at a podium finish.
Yeah, and it's basically clear sailing with Hayes, you mentioned there. And that's one of the main things. You have clean air, you are able to run much faster, of course. That's the same case right now with High a bit. But it looks like Punkari might be someone to watch in the next few laps, because it's getting to where the cars that are on the two-tire strategy are catching up to Jeff Ward. And it's going to start to be a factor. They're still 0.7 of a second faster. We're watching Punkari, of course, just a little bit up the track, about a turn up the track is that leader, and Jeff Ward letting Devin Cannon by this time. So he's closing in fast.
Yeah, he's just under a second faster right now than Jeff Ward, but it's still 34.5 seconds to get to Jeff Ward. Punkari got a lot of work to do here. Getting back on that lap there with him would be important, but again, quite a gap with now just 22 laps to go. You wonder, is it enough? I don't think it is, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it is, but if he does get on that lead lap, he's going to be in a good, decent little position. He is in that spot where he can be in a good chance to have the lucky dog, or is close to being that lucky dog right now. But if he can get by Jeff Ward, he's going to be on that lead lap, able to pit with the leaders, and have a good shot of charging through the field. But let's avoid that C word, because you do not want to see that if you're a race fan right now with the racing we're seeing, especially with Ward's trying to hold on to that 8.8 second lead.
Yeah, the drivers have really been on point tonight. I want to give a tip of hat to them. No matter what happens at this point, this has been some great racing. Green flag, you got to love it. It doesn't get much better than that. Jeff Ward, Rich Jetty, together on track, both basically with the same color paint scheme. Can get a little confusing when those two are next to each other. A couple of Chevys. Ward going to get by clean, though. Jetty going to let him go. Rich Jetty having a great run tonight. Sitting there in 8th spot. Remember, Jetty started this race all the way in the back of the field. 19th starting spot for him. And boy, what a run for the man from Pennsylvania this evening. He now the first car a lap down after our leader Jeff Ward just got by. Your top 5, Jeff Ward, Brian Yazik, Brody Hayes, Tommy Ryan, and Woody Mahan. Haven't talked about Woody in a while. Woody still having a good run there in the Jewel.
Yeah, he's just quietly held on to that top 5 spot, in part because he has a lot of space around him. He started off 10th today in that Loud Pedal Motorsports South car, he's just been able to continue what he needs to do and just race his own race. That's what he's been doing. He's ran some pretty fast times. He's ran a decent pace when around cars. And he's in a good position to stay in that top 5.
Okay, Punkari now just about has caught Rich Jetty here. It's an important spot because the next one up in front of him is Jeff Ward. Punkari still making those fresher tires work, but I wonder if we're starting to get to the point here where things even themselves out. It does look like Punkari still able to put the power down out of the turn and get by Jetty pretty easily there. Question is, can he get to Ward as easily? And, well, then can he get around? Is Ward just going to let him have it? Honestly, here, as we come across the line, we'll only have 16 laps left. I don't think Ward's got to worry about him. He can certainly not be harmed by giving him the lap back. But keeping him in the mirror, probably the best place to keep Brendan Punkari stashed back there. Don't know if Jeff's going to catch anybody else to lap here. Snoop Doggy Don Runkle just coming out of the pits. He'll certainly get by him, I think. But I don't think there'll be any more positions that he'll be lapping before this is over. Got a battle for 4th place here, though. There it is on screen. Tommy Ryan and the Jewel, Woody Mahan.
Yeah, we're just mentioning the Jewel having a good run, really, and you can see, as if it's possible, can we get a cockpit view of this to see how Mahan's handling this run right now, because you can see he's trying to fall into the tracks right now to try and get that draft, as get as fast as he can, going 202 on that one, and then just trying to match the line a bit and just get, in fact, a bit faster on the exit. You can see with that draft pole, he's going to be in a good position with the lap car to use as a pick to get past Tommy Ryan, and 3 wide, in fact. But as you can see, Ryan on that right side has that better line with the exit on the momentum. And Mahan, there's the talking about earlier with that partition on the apron, having to hold on to it.
Yeah, Woody, stay on the track. I would not advise going back down to that apron there for Woody. That cost him tremendously too, man.
Yeah, now there's a car between the two of them, and it's one of the cars on the 2-tire strategy as well, Troy Haight. So he's going to have to fight all over again and hope he didn't burn the tires a bit too much from having to save it from that transition on the apron. That, like I said, does happen on the worn tires. You do not want to have that happen to you. And it can happen as much as going down there 8 or 9 laps in a row at times on fresher tires. So you can see Mahan's having to close it in and is starting to do it a bit here with his entrances.
Yeah, and Punkari did, during all that, Punkari did manage to get around Jeff Ward, so he has put himself back on this lead lap. But we're going to come across the line here, only 11 laps to go. Unless we get a caution, I think it's going to be a hill too high to climb there for Brent Punkari. But boy, what a great race these guys have had. It looks like here in the end, sans a caution flag, it's really going to come down to your strategy. Who had the right call and who was fast enough. And right now, Jeff Ward still the fastest car on this track. Brian Yazik in 2nd place. Ward has really checked out on him, though, about 11, almost 12 seconds back to Yazik. Brody Hayes, right where he started, hanging on the 3rd. Tommy Ryan up into a 4th place spot. He started 11th today. Woody Mahan, we've talked about his run today, looking pretty solid right now in that 5th spot. But Woody not done yet. Maybe a chance to get by Tommy Ryan here before it's all said and done with. We need to keep an eye on these two because it's putting on a pretty good battle here. Really, one of the best battles on track right now, Justin.
Yeah, especially with all the spacing out, but Tommy Ryan's going to have his work cut out from, because Mahan does have the better speed off exit with the draft, and you can see he's taking advantage of that right now with the bottom. But as you can see, Mahan, he's going to try and pull off the slide job to pinch Ryan up a bit up the track and get the spot at the line. But yeah, you can see Mahan finally able to pull it off. Can he keep him behind him on a slide job on the exit? He's just going to stick it to the bottom.
Yeah, and in one move we did miss is, and that was Devin Serra getting by Rich Jetty. Devin Serra up to 9th. That's another one of those cars that was on the 3-stop strategy, and Jetty on the 2-stop strategy. So Jetty, man, Woody back down to that apron down there, almost had trouble again. Sorry, I hate to jump around, but there's just action still all over this track with now just 8 laps to go. Woody Mahan had a very, very tense moment coming across the front stretch on that apron. His transition back up almost caused big trouble for him and Tommy Ryan.
Yeah, we got the replay
we
here.
Do, good.
I believe in just a few moments here. So we're going to have it right up on your screen right now, in fact. As you're going to see, this is coming through 3 and 4, where Mahan was still out in front of Ryan. And probably seeing that Ryan had a decent exit, decided to try and cut off a 10th or 2 on that apron. But as he transitions back, wiggles it out, and just is able to hang on to it, and still able to keep the spot.
I think that might have been a code brown there for Tommy Ryan. These two still going out. Hey, there's Snoop Doggy Don Runkle. I'm a pickle, Rick. He's coming through. We haven't got to use the Pickle Rick cam this evening. There it is. There's the Pickle Rick cam. Coming on up the top side here around Tommy Ryan. Now, Don back in the field here, but is on fresher tires right now. Don back here in 19th place. Those tires only about 11 laps old, so he's able to power on past. He's Woody Mahan behind. Battle here for 7th on screen. Ricky Harden, Brent Picari. Oh, Picari got to get around.
Yeah, and Picari, he's basically the best car on the track in terms of the 3-stop strategy for the whole race. And so he's right now very close to matching his season high finish in that 6th place spot. A good finishing run overall here, as there are just a few laps to go, but Jeff Ward is still right on behind both of them.
Yeah, Ward's still looking strong deep into this run. 4 laps to go here at the line for our leader, Jeff Ward. I'm sorry, 3 laps to go for our leader, Jeff Ward. Here
and that was almost trouble on screen. Yeah, that's the case of lap car in the wrong place at the wrong time, as Ryan was able to get the pass by Mahan and almost lost the spot because Paulson was like a standstill on there, but he's still able to get the speed. But now Mahan hits the wall.
Boy, yeah, he's hurt bad. Woody gonna do all they can to just hang on at this point. Hope that Tyler Dalton doesn't catch him with 2 laps to go here. Boy, that's a shame. Woody and Tommy had such a good battle going on. I think it's going to go ahead and fall to Tommy now. Still not going to be enough to catch Brody Hayes. We're going to pick up our leader, Jeff Ward. Ward has just been dominant tonight. Really has looked good here at Chicagoland Speedway. Car's been dialed in. Already picked up a win a couple nights ago in the Xfinity Series. He struggled in the trucks, admittedly. Did not have a great run, didn't have a good qualifying effort, and really never found the speed in the trucks. But with the Xfinity's cars on Tuesday night and now again in the Cup car, been awful dominant here at Chicagoland tonight. Brian Yazik going to finish 15 seconds behind him here. Coming around, last lap, across the start-finish line, the Chicagoland 200 in the books. Your winner, Jeff Ward, taking the flag. Ooh, what a run. 134 laps completed. Jeff Ward, the big winner tonight. Brian Yazik finally going to go across in second. Brody Hayes going to be your 3rd place finisher tonight. Wow, Justin, a lot of great racing out there. Coming down to the line, though, it's going to be Tyler Dalton, going to finish 6th. Brent Puncari, best he could do was get himself back up to 7th. But, Justin, what a great race tonight here, but it's another victory for Jeff Ward. We're going to take a quick break away here from Chicago here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back with the Patriot Fire Cup Series in just a moment. Back on the Global Sim Racing channel, we just saw the Chicago 200 here in the Patriot Fire Cup Series of the Premier Racing League. Round 31 is in the books. What a race tonight. Another one dominated by the great Jeff Ward. The Mid-South driver comes home the winner this evening. We'll go down the results here. Brian Yazik with a big second place finish. Not even close, though, to catching up to Ward. A race that only saw one caution flag. Brody Hayes in third. Great. Another solid run for Brody. Tommy Ryan going to finish fourth tonight. Woody Mahan. Woody with a little bit of luck tonight. Got fifth place. Sixth place going to go to Tyler Dalton. Brent Puncari in seventh. Eighth place going to Ricky Harden. Devin Serra, ninth. And 10th going to go to Rich Jetty.
And just outside that top 10, in 11th spot overall, it was Thomas George. He was one of the cars on the three-stop strategy for the race. It did not work out for him. Rick Thompson followed him off in 12th. Troy Haight in 13th. Stephen Herring in 14th. Derek Paulson coming away with a solid top 15 finish. Justin Rodden finished 16th. Devin Cannon 17th. John Wilco, he finished a couple laps down in 18th. While Don Runkle Jr., he was the last car of the whole race to pit overall. Finished 2 laps down in 19th. Jonathan Lawrence finished 7 laps down due to early troubles in 20th. And Scott Eckridge, due to some bad luck to bring out the one caution, also finished 7 laps down right at the back of the field.
Well, Justin, I'm going to let you talk to Jeff Ward tonight about his big victory. We certainly had plenty of conversations. I'm going to let you catch up with him tonight down in Victory Lane.
Yes, thank you very much. Jeff Ward, of course, winning his first race at a 1.5 miler since, of course, the last time we were at a 1.5 miler in Charlotte, where he actually got his first win of the season. So, Jeff, how difficult was it to try and win today here at Chicagoland?
Oh, well, the cautions kind of fell where we needed them to be able to get out to a lead there. It was the setup was tough. It was real tight, and I'm really glad we didn't have a caution there at the end, because I know a couple guys back there, if they could have, got on the fresh tires, probably could have gave us a good challenge. I know Brian, Brody, and then Brett. I know he was on a different strategy, but he did have a fast car all night long. So things just worked out in our favor, man. I thought it felt great all night. I heard some guys complaining that the car just felt weird, but it kind of, I guess, fit my style, and things worked out.
You mentioned the car was a little bit tight. What do you mean by that exactly? Like, was it tight on entry, tight on exit, essentially? I know it's a colder track as well. That had somewhat of a factor to it as well, but how difficult was it to try and manage that as you were practicing, as you were going through the race and going through the motions and slowly working your way to get more and more comfortable as the race went on with your setup?
Well, it felt like to me, right in the center, if you oversteer just a little bit, the thing would try to push out towards the wall, and you really had to, kind of burp the throttle to stay off the wall. A lot of times I was just, half throttle through the corner trying to get the right rear to grip and turn. So it was a lot of throttle control to stay out of the, turns 2 and 4 walls there. I thought it was fun. You really had to work at it to make speed, and some tracks we go at, this feels like we're just, all out sometimes. So that was a fun change of pace.
Yeah, you finished about 15 seconds ahead of the second place car, Brian Yazik. So how did you essentially set that pace? Because I know it's a lot about consistency and getting the right set of pace and patience, but you essentially you had the consistency and speed right out of the gate at times, it seemed, off the restarts especially. How were you able to space that out, in part, of course, because of caution strategy and pit strategy?
I just tried to save as much as I could. The default had 10-to-1 ratio, so I ran a 12-to-1. It seemed like it kind of helped me on the long runs. 15, 20 laps in, the car started feeling pretty good, and even when I pitted, I was checking out my tires compared to my teammates. And the first run, I was eating them a little more than them, so I tried to not oversteer on that second run. And then from that second run on, I feel like I kind of figured some things out, mainly in 3 and 4 there. So, just kept digging, man, and just really prayed that no cautions fell. That was kind of the key to getting this one.
Yeah, and only one caution in this race now, but we are moving, of course, from Chicagoland to a bit of a unique track in Iowa, a track that's shaped kind of like a 1.5 miler, but is a 1 mile circuit. How is it going to be to try and battle at Iowa Speedway for next week?
Well, I think it's going to be fun because it's one of them tracks that the Cup car doesn't regularly run at. It's more of an Xfinity and truck track. So I think I missed this race last year when we ran this track. So I'm looking forward to going back there. And I love the short tracks, so especially ones you can rim ride on, kind of like you can at Iowa up there in turns 3 and 4. So I think it'll be a lot of good racing, side-by-side racing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds like a good plan. We'll see how you do next week. Thank you very much for the time, Jeff. Jeff Ward, today's winner of the Chicago 200.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and for coming and visiting with us, Jeff Ward receives absolutely nothing but our adulation and congratulations for that big win tonight. But Brian Yazik, we don't have any parting gifts for you, but a second place finish here on the podium certainly helps you in the points, brother. Great run tonight.
It's a great points night. I know people don't like hearing that, but it kind of feels like that scene in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory at the very end. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. That's kind of what second place feels like. You don't get the trophy. You don't get to kiss the pretty girls. You don't get the big check. You don't get to spray any alcoholic beverage. So, oh well. But hey, second's good for the points. I know Cohan wasn't there, and we outran Tommy. So, for what it was for starting 17th, because I choked away my qualifying laps.
Yeah,
we will take that.
Brian, how are we going to beat Jeff Ward? What's got to happen here? Lightning, DDoS, something. Dude, when the new build stuff, when the Cup car really changed back in, what was that? The second season, basically, of this year, or second two of this year. The Cup car went a very drastic change, and that fell right into his wheelhouse. It fell into mine too, but I don't know. I mean, I was keeping track, and at some points he was 0.3 a lap quicker than me. 20 laps into the run, and there were times he'd kind of even out, and then it'd pull away. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it good. That's his 9th or 10th win of the season. That is his 9th. Yeah,
that is dumb. Number 9. All right, engine number 9. Take me to the finish line. One of those sort of situations, but he's doing good for Loud Pedal Motorsports, and we're kind of we're just kind of running it as this has gone on.
Yeah, and for all of his effort there, that 9th win only still leaves him in 8th in the points. Still, 203 points behind you. I think you're safe as long as you continue to show up and put in some decent finishes. Tommy Ryan's going to be 78 points behind you. The big loser tonight looks like it's going to be Krahula. By not making the race, he's going to fall 3 spots in the points. And I know life happens, but it's certainly a shame that James couldn't be here tonight.
It is a shame, but I know it's probably because of something work-related. Some stuff's really going his way with his job and his career and stuff like that. So I'm happy for him, but at the same time, as a competitor, I will gladly continue to just kind of put a stranglehold on the point series. It's just kind of what we've been trying to do. We had a real rough first part of the season. But, some of the other guys fell to the wayside and kind of had their own ways that, they're not here anymore. That's fine. That's their decision.
Yeah.
But, we kept at it, and the couple wins helped, but it's just these solid finishes. I know that we're not going to be the fastest car every single week, but if I can aim for a top 5 and anything within that's a solid spot, especially with these halfway points. That was a sense of urgency to get from 17th to I think I got 4th on the halfway point by about a couple car lengths over Devon. But all in all, great run, great season so far for our HPP Simulation Ford Fusion. Trying to lock down this title and the trucks, and that'll put me on a pedestal all by myself as the only guy who's won all 3 PRL championships. So that'll feel good. That's going to feel pretty good. But we're just a lot of time. Computer could blow up tonight, tomorrow, next week. I mean, that's the thing. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, it's not over till it's over. You're right.
Every opportunity we can, we are going to. We're just going to keep digging, and maybe one of these weeks we'll get lucky and beat Jeff. Iowa's good for me next week. I've always loved Iowa. A couple other places as the season winds down. Really good track. So we will. We'll just keep showing up in this HPP Simulation Ford Fusion and try to bring home this championship.
Any chance we can rip that rookie stripe off the bumper maybe sometime in the last few races?
I got to talk to James about that because he's the one that did all these decal packs and and put that on there. It bothers me. Maybe I'm trying to outrun it, and that's why I'm so fast. But
yeah,
next year we won't have the rookie stripes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna feel good about that.
All right. Well, Brian, congratulations on a podium finish tonight. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. Put a pretty bow on it. Anybody you'd like to thank real quick?
Just thanks to Mark at HPP, Loud Pedal Motorsports. On a personal note, we are now, let's see, Sunday to Thursday. That's 5 days smoke free, so that's pretty good for a pack and a half a day of smoking. That's I haven't
very
cheated.
nice.
I haven't given up. Nobody's dead. I haven't killed anybody or screamed at anybody yet. So
good.
That's doing good. And on that same note, we're thinking about our buddy Bryce Whitson. He got discharged from the hospital. He's still got a long road ahead of him, but you got this, Bryce. We all believe in you.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. We're all pulling for Bryce and holding a good thought out for him as he battles with leukemia. Is that right,
yes, sir.
Brian? Yeah,
yep.
Right, exactly. Well, hey, buddy, thanks for getting that in. And thanks for coming in and chatting with us. We'll see you next week at Iowa.
Hey, sounds good. Take it easy, guys.
All right, Justin, that was Brian Yazik. That was some race tonight, man. A lot of fun here. But it is time to wrap up. It's been a good one. As always, my thanks to you, sir. You another great job here on the call. And we'll see you next week at Iowa. Now, come see us again with the Premier Racing League on this Saturday, October 8th. At 9:05 Eastern Standard Time with the American Pool Supply Truck Series heads to Iowa Speedway for 150 laps of mayhem in the corn. Would like to thank the drivers and the organizers of the Premier Racing League for coming here tonight and putting on another tremendous show for us. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed there on your screen now. Additional thanks always go out to Eric Eckholm and Casey Lalonde. These two are fabulous musicians and they have great music. If you want to contact them, go to one of their websites right there on screen. We'd love to get them get some more of their music out there. Now see the screen for how you can get their work, like I said. But thanks to the team today, Justin, Amjad Yaman, Dougie Beard. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at our website, globalsimracingchannel.com. Of course, you can look at our YouTube page there, and we've got upcoming races listed there also. And you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel. We're also on Facebook, globalsimracingchannel.com. Just type that in the search window of Facebook. We'll come right up, I promise. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. Check those out, mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.